That guitar riff means it's time for Game Changer. Are you lonely over there?
I'm starting to get hives sometimes when I hear that tune.
You're like, we got a show to do.
But without Goldie, I can't. I got to be here.
It does feel
he flies all around the country. I'm gonna be here every time we need to do this.
Best kind of ability.
The availability, you darn right. We'll teach Goldie that at some point.
Shula could count on you. We could count on you.
Yeah, that's right. You darn right.
Where is Goldie? Goldie's
counting his cash.
Right here.
In Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm available.
Why didn't they play hockey in
Bo
North Carolina?
The reason Bo Camper has to be there all the time is because if you put him on a Zoom and he had to dial it up, he wouldn't know how. So he's got to go to the studio in person.
I'm going to give you that point, Goldie. I'm going to give you that point.
Say it to his face next time and not from 500 miles away. How about that?
No thanks.
I'd rather drive an hour and do it live than try to get on a Zoom call.
It's going to take you the hour?
Yeah.
Either way. All right, guys, it was obviously a busy week with NFL free agency opening up. It was a fun week, I got to say. Sometimes the offseason storylines are better than the in-season storylines, but man,
let me tell
Dolphins.
You what, I kept my toilet seat up when the Dolphins started getting rid of goals. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, look, Christian Wilkins is gone. Brandon Jones is gone. There's a lot of guys who made an exit this week. But now that kind of the dust has settled, I want to get your points on this because if you were on social media, Dolphin Nation was not having it. And they did not handle it very well. Goldie, I'll start with you. Do you think Dolphin fans have overreacted now that you kind of see the plan come to shape with some of the additions? I mean, Tyreek Hill was the voice of reason all week on social media, telling everyone to relax that Chris Gruden knows what he's doing. Goldie, what did you think of the reaction from Dolphin fans?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll say this, Mike. I don't think the dust has settled, okay? You still have a huge draft for this team, and then you've got that second wave in June where there's still going to be, I'm not saying big-time Pro Bowl players, but they'll be functional players. Tyreek has been very entertaining on Twitter all week. He's been in there. The bottom line for me, and I know I'm in the minority on this, Christian Wilkins is the big loss, okay? He does come off a career year, though, and I don't believe that position warrants that amount of money. I've said that many times. Now, that said, I think they got better at linebacker. Shaq Barrett, they bring in Brooks from Seattle. Jerome Baker, we all know him. We love him. These guys are every bit as good as Jerome Baker. We also have to figure that Anthony Weaver, the new defensive coordinator, had some input into the type of linebackers that they want to get. I mean, Brooks has had, over 100 tackles, 3 straight years, a first-round pick. So, to me, and you go and get Poyer at safety, who I think is probably every bit as good or better than Brandon Jones or Deshaun Elliott. And the other thing they did that I actually do like, they finally addressed the special teams. I know no one's going to talk about it, but special teams cost them, I don't want to say some games, but certainly swings in games. And they go out and they get Neal from Buffalo, who's one of the top 10 special teamers. So they get a center that, we'll see how it shakes out. Aaron Brewer, it seems like he would fit this scheme. He's very athletic.
He runs like a tight end. Runs like a tight end.
Yeah, I think we have to give, this is my opinion, I think we have to give Mike McDaniel a little bit of a scholarship on some of the types of guys they got. They know fit the schemes. But, of course, Van Ginkel had a great year. It's going to be tough to replace him. And Christian Wilkins, I mean, look, he's one of the best in the league at his position. It's a tough loss. There's no doubt about that.
Robert Hunt, too, as well on that
list.
Well,
look, I think they pulled the heart out of this football team. I really do.
Yeah.
And it all came on the defensive side. Christian Wilkins, my gosh, So here you've got 4 guys that you drafted. You got Baker, you got Wilkins, you got Van Ginkel, and you got Robert Jones. All good players, and you let each of them go. Why do you draft guys and develop them then? Why don't you keep them for 2 years and get them away? Well, I don't understand it. So you're going to take a guy that's in the prime of his career, ship him off somewhere else, and get 2 guys back that are in their maybe in their 30s. And I just look. The problem with the Dolphins this year is going to be how are they going to remanufacture this defense? I'm with Goldie. I thought the linebackers, I'm fine. Cornerback situation, we've only got 1. And we need to get 2 more at least in there. But this offense, let's not forget, this offense still got a lot of skilled players on that other side. And with what they've got there, if they can find that third goal, a Hunter Renfrow, someone like that to come in and be that third receiver. You got Jonnu Smith to move. So I think this team may just go from being a defense dominated team to be an offense team that's got a defense that kind of has to find their way through with a new defensive coordinator that brings in that Baltimore philosophy, which I've loved ever since they came into being.
But let me ask you this question, because you mentioned Christian Wilkins. That's obviously a big loss, $27 million a year. That's a heavy price tag.
But Van Ginkel to me is a guy
he's a big loss too. I'm not taking anything away from him either. But do you think with the contracts that were coming up this year and the contracts that they have to get in front of for next season, do you think they may have prioritized the Waddles, the Jalen Phillips, the Javon Hollins over this crop?
I don't know how you do that. I mean, they're
well, because they'll be cheaper than Wilkins.
I know they'll be cheap. Well, look, when I tell you, when Waddle comes up, he's not going to be cheap.
But he won't be $27 million.
No. You wait and see. You wait and see. I guarantee he's going to be that number's going to be up there for Waddle. I guarantee you. If he has a year like the year he had before.
Well, I mean, 3,000 yards.
He's going to break the bank. Don't worry. So what's going to happen when he gets there? Oh, we can't afford him.
Yeah.
Got to ship him somewhere. But this is the other thing. What does it say to the players on that team? What does it say to people that get drafted high, first, second, third round?
Yeah.
Well, look, we're only going to be here for 4 years. We're only going to be here for 4 years, and then we're going to have to find another. Where's the loyalty coming from the other side?
Well, they're going to get a bag.
No, I know they get a bag.
Okay.
But you tell me Van Ginkel got $20 million, $10 million, $10 million, 14 guaranteed. You tell me the Dolphins couldn't have given him that?
They probably could have. But to Goldie's point about the scheme, it may have been a Weaver thing.
Look, everybody this season, for the I would say through 3/4 of the season, underestimated Van Ginkel. Oh, when Phillips went down, what's going to happen? Well, I kept going, well, Van Ginkel's there. Yeah. Van Ginkel's played when you put him, I think he's probably the third best guy on that defense last year behind Wilkins, behind Phillips when he was playing. I would put him the third best player there.
Goldie,
and you let him go for pennies.
Not very popular, but you may get mad. Sunday night in Philly. Okay, we talked about this all year.
Yep.
Early in the game in Germany, the last 2 drives Monday night against Tennessee, the second half, although it was more offense, against Buffalo, the Baltimore game. I know we all love these guys, and individually, a lot of them, Bo, you're right. Homegrown, had terrific seasons. What did, as a unit, anybody on this team do against the top competition when the chips and the money was on the line?
We'll go back and start that again, and you can throw the offense in on that too.
100%.
Offense needs to score points. When we come back, we're going to dive into what is going on with the Miami Heat, Miami Hurricanes basketball team. A lot of L's being hung up in the score panel by those two teams recently. We're going to talk about next.
Game Changers is sponsored by your Volkswagen dealers of South Florida. Shop your 7-passenger favorites at VWFlorida.com.
Welcome back to Game Changers. Mike Cunio, Kim Bokamper here in Miami, out in Raleigh, North Carolina for the Panthers and Hurricanes game tonight.
You get barbecue out there, Goldie, when you get to North Carolina?
Now, we're keeping them in the hotel room.
Mustard barbecue sauce up there?
100%. Couple biscuits on the side, Bo. Man, delicious.
All right. Speaking of barbecue, the Miami Heat have not been playing well lately. 4 straight losses.
Good segue, Cunio. Good segue.
There you go.
We're pros here on Game Changers. I learned from you two. That's what it is. Yes, the Heat have lost 4 in a row, most recently to the Denver Nuggets in what was billed, obviously, as an NBA Finals rematch. And just like in the NBA Finals, the Heat got their you-know-what handed to them in that game. Bo, are you out on the Heat? I know we keep doing this in and out, but
I'm not out.
I mean, they don't beat good teams.
I know. I'm a little disappointed. It's been, look, it's the Dolphins, the Heat. Yeah. We beat the bad teams, lose to the good teams. But I just thought, this season, much like last season, at the beginning of the season, there was a rocky road for them, bouncing up and down. But this season's been like that all the way, and they've never. Last year they got traction. They got traction towards the end of the year. They snuck in on that last game, got into the playoffs, and then they played great. This team's not going to get in this year. I don't see this team getting in where they're at right now. They may get into the playoff game. I don't know what that's going to do, but it just seems to be the chemistry that you lost from some of those guys that left,
sure.
not the stars,
right.
Those guys, the role players.
Right.
Maybe losing them meant more to the Heat than you did. And you got Jimmy not playing the way he was. Now he's starting to get active on the offensive side, and he's playing more. But it's at some point it's too little, too late, and you can't every year go until the last day, get in, and then hope you're going to make a run. There's got to be a lot of frustration in the hierarchy of that basketball team right now because they're not playing like the Heat teams that we've seen over the last 2 decades.
No, and after the All-Star break, they kind of looked like they were picking it up. Playoff Jimmy said, "Hey, I'm here," but they don't have a winning record.
But it's a little bit, and then it will kind of.
And then they fall back. Goldie, do you think the Heat? They're in a play-in spot at the moment, but do you even think they get out of that and into the first round?
I got to think they win the play-in, although if we remember last year, everybody remembers the final, the end when they made it to the championship and had the great run with all the upsets, and they were a game away from going home. They lost the first game of the play-in, so they're right on the border to get out of that play-in thing. I do think that's a factor. You'd like to avoid that, but the bottom line is, I believed in them all year, but now, we see this latest losing streak. These inconsistencies at this point in the season, with not that much, runway left in the regular season, that's been disappointing to see. So I'm really curious to see what happens now over the next 5-6 weeks or so, if they can find a little more consistency. We do know this, that from the coach right on through to the star players on this team, they are able to elevate their game when they're in a series, playing the same opponent game after game. They're able to do that.
There you go.
But as you guys just talked about, Bo, you said you want to go into the playoffs with a good feeling and maybe better than that play-in round. Hopefully they're able to avoid it.
You make a good point. They're better at chess, not checkers right now. In checkers, though, they're 14-21 against teams above 500. All right, Goldie, let's stick with the bad basketball here. I know you've seen a lot over the recent years with Syracuse. UM basketball also, also not great. They end the year on 10 straight losses, get bounced in the first round from the ACC tournament. What do you make of the way Coach Larrañaga and the Canes performed a year after making it to the Final Four?
They had some injuries. I'm just going to get that out of the way because it's not an excuse, okay? It's not like the Dolphins defense, how devastated they were injuries. Man, you got to be concerned about where they're going.
Yeah.
This was stunning to lose the way they lost because, all of us thought that with Coach L on top and some of the things they had done, and certainly last year, as you said, we thought they had built the culture to not have something like what we just saw happen and to bow out the way they did down the stretch of the ACC season, injuries aside, and you do have some great teams in that conference, but they're supposed to be able to compete with those teams as a program. In the last month or so, they did not. It's disappointing.
Look, they had guys coming back from the team last year that played really well, had an awesome team. Yeah. But you know what? You could tell watching that team last year. They were tight.
Yep.
They were a team. This team looks like a ragged bunch of guys. They at times they play hard, at times they don't play hard.
Jordan Miller,
you're not getting production out of the best players in the key games with them. Maybe you got a 10-game losing streak for the Heat. Right?
4 right now.
4 or 10.
If it's 10, it's over.
Mid-10. So, and then you got, maybe there's something wrong with the water in the 305 and when it comes to basketball. I don't know. Because we had 2 good basketball teams last year. Yeah. This year we're kind of floating in the in the current. And so maybe we need to check the sewer system out there and see what's going on down in the 305.
Well, the sewer system in the 954 is certainly fine because the Panthers are on a heck of a run. Goldie, we saw the comeback against the Dallas Stars. I keep going back to the way Boston lost this week to St. Louis, and they were at home. They came out flat, 3-0 deficit, and they just packed it in. Did we learn something about the difference between one of the better teams in the league in the Boston Bruins and the better teams in the league in the Florida Panthers and the way they can handle adversity?
Well, I'll tell you this. You may think it's a bold statement because of what you just said, Mike. The Panthers might be the best team in sports right now. Honestly. First of all, they never lose. They've lost 5 games in regulation since December. I mean, there are 33 games. They've got points in 28 of them, whether there's new guys in the lineup, whether it's on the road, at home. They've won 15 out of 16 on the road. I think they've got the best depth in the league. And right now, as great as Bobrovsky has been, it doesn't even matter who's in goal. Anthony Stolarz has been every bit as good. So, we learned that they're a team that they don't have to max out and play great the entire game in order to win. And the other night in Dallas should have put the league on notice because they do it against the fourth best team in the league in the Stars, who not only controlled part of the game, they controlled most of the game. Yeah. The Panthers cranked it up in the third period and absolutely buried them. And Kachuk and Barkov right now, and you throw in Reinhart with all those goals. I mean, you got some guys that are at the top of the league individually as well. They are a juggernaut. But as we know, the problem in the NHL, and the great thing about the NHL, when you hit those playoffs, everybody literally starts 0-0. None of it matters.
Listen, I would have loved to have been at more of these Panther games, looking to my left or my right and seen Bo there, but he bailed on me in the season tickets. We're going to bail on this segment right now. We got to talk about a presidential run that's breaking the sports world right now. Yes, Aaron Rodgers.
My head got shiny on that one.
Yeah, potential VP candidate for Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? We're going to talk about that and who we would like to see run for president from the sports world. Game changers coming back.
Get it, Cunha.
Welcome back to Game Changers. Mike Cunha, Kim Bo-Kemper, Steve Goldstein. Guys, Aaron Rodgers was in the news this week, not because of torn Achilles, but apparently...
Is he still playing?
Well, we're going to find out. But he is apparently Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s, or on the short list for RFK Jr.'s VP candidate. Now, I do want to say this. We're going to have some fun here with this segment, but a quick disclaimer. We're not into politics, so please don't get mad at anything we do here. Guys, I want to know, I want to know from the sports world, if you could pick a presidential VP ticket, now that we're in this point of the year, who would you go with? Goldie, let's start with you.
Well, Mike, when you ask these wild questions, I actually think about it. I mean, you get me intrigued. So I'm going to go way back. I'm going to pick David Robinson, the former great San Antonio Spurs. They call him the Admiral, U.S. Navy. He served afterwards.
Very smart.
He's got Admiral Capital. I believe there's like $100 or $200 million now. He's a very successful, successful businessman. And then,
go ahead.
And then because Cunha, you asked about, who else he would bring along. Well, I've got the best international relations team ever. I got Tony Parker in there. I got Manu Ginobili as Secretary of State.
Oh, you feel that whole cabinet.
You got Wemby.
I got Wemby as a piece of it to do some goodwill.
Where's Popovich in all this?
Well, Pop, is a little older, so he's going to be my senior advisor, and Sean Elliott is going to be my vice president. How do you like that?
Wow, that's a good thing. I like that. I like the thought that went into that.
You went deep into that. So I didn't go deep because when our intrepid producer Leo called me, he said,
"This is where the disclaimer comes in.
Give me your choice for vice president." So I gave him one. When I got here, it's the president. It's the camera. So I got one guy. I got one name for me, and I'm not going to say anything. But I think his policy should be "Make America Tough Again." My man Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, love it.
Biting knees. He'll go into Congress. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. He'll bite your knees.
Would be lit.
He'll knock you down. He'll drag you out. And he's going to get you going. And this country is going to be back on top. I don't care who's the president, as long as we get him running the show.
Yeah, I don't even think he needs
I don't think I spelled it.
A VP
No.
candidate.
He could be his own VP.
All right. So I probably went a little too deep. I'm going Derek Jeter and John Daly, and here's why. Derek Jeter. Listen. He's a little stately, but New York.
Stately.
Hold on. 28 electoral votes. Let's do the math here. John Daly from California. He's gonna drive, and he kind of lives in the South now. I think he lives in Arkansas. The kind of the everyman kind of thing going on. I looked at the electoral map and said, how can we get this done? Yeah. How can we bring the country back together?
First of all, you got one of the best,
and you got the front-running Yankee fans.
One of the all-time best baseball players. That's the most dull person on the face of the earth. You got that.
I think we could use that.
And you got John Daly, who you're not going to get a beer can out of his hand when he's out there campaigning on the road. He's going to be all his campaign stops are going to be at Hooters. So that's not going to work.
Hey, let me say, I'm okay with Dan Campbell. That's a great call. Yeah. If your guys come through, Cunha, I'm getting my passport. I'm going to Canada. That's it. That's it. John Daly. What, are you kidding me?
I text Goldie and I was thinking Randy Moeller because he's so popular. But Randy's from Canada, right? I don't need birth certificate gate part 2.
So let me say, so you want your vice president to be a guy that signed with Hooters. And he's got.
Hold on. I said I did not dive into the politics of any of
He can eat and drink at Hooters until he dies.
Yeah.
Yet he's been thrown out of 2. That's the guy you want to be the vice president.
Yeah. All right. When we come back here on Game Changers, we're celebrating something special. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Game Changers. Goldie, do you know what today is?
I'm going to guess it's somebody's anniversary.
Yes, how about that?
It's our anniversary. You forgot. It's 1 year of Game Changers.
Let's give a shout out to Jim Barry, too.
There we go. Jim Barry. Yep, Jim Barry's part of the XG crew. How about that, Goldie? We made it all the way to
here's the problem. Cunio, you can't eat that.
That's why I'm saying, Goldie. For us, he gets a cake. For him, he gets chicken wings.
Where are my chicken wings?
I don't get that. You don't get any special. You get nothing special for this.
No.
You're part of the team. But hey, let's go.
Good job, everybody. We can't do it. There we go. Woo.
Oh, look at you.
Yes, I know. I was supposed to aim it at you.
Oh, hold on.
Not so strong.
You know what, Cunio?
Look at this guy.
There it is.
You just made up for the fact that
gave me the wrong
Derek Jeter and John
instructions.
Daly running the country.
Thank you to everyone who's been watching. Thank you to Goldie.
That wouldn't happen to Dan Campbell.
To Bo. You guys have been the wind beneath my wings here. Leo, George, everyone who's been part of the show. Jonan last week, Lauren Pastrana. Thanks to everyone.
Everything we've said about you, Cunio, was true.
What? All right. We'll be back next week as year 2 gets underway. Thanks for watching Game Changers. We'll see you next time.